Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to take that super intimidating blank page and turn it into a structured, professional-looking website. HTML is the backbone of the entire web, and by the end of this, you are going to have the exact blueprint that the pros use to build clean, effective, and future-proof projects. Okay, let's get right into it. I mean, who hasn't been there, right? You've got this amazing idea, you fire up your editor, and you're just met with that blinking cursor on a completely empty screen. It can feel like this huge wall, but I promise you it is not as scary as it looks. Because here's the secret. Underneath every single website you visit, from the simplest blog to the most complex web app, lies the exact same foundational structure. Once you really get this blueprint down, you'll never stare at a blank page with that feeling of uncertainty ever again. So, I want you to think of this as the concrete foundation of a house. You can't build the walls, you can't put on the roof, you can't do anything else until this is perfectly set in place. This is the absolute, non-negotiable starting point for every single page on the web. At its core, an HTML file is really just a simple text document. That's it. You save it with an .html extension, and that little extension is the signal to web browsers like Chrome or Firefox to say, hey, read me, interpret the tags inside, and show a web page. It's honestly that straightforward. And here it is. This is the skeleton of every modern website. That very first line, doctype HTML, is so important. It's basically a declaration that tells the browser, hey, just so you know, we're using the latest and greatest version, HTML5. Then, everything else gets wrapped inside those HTML tags, which act like the main container for the entire page. Now, inside that HTML tag, the whole document is split into two key parts. First, you've got the head. Think of it like the backstage of a theater. The audience never sees what happens here, but it's where all the crucial setup information for the browser lives. Stuff like the page title you see in the browser tab, character encoding, and links to your style sheets. Then you have the body tag, and this is the main stage. This is where every single thing the user actually sees and interacts with goes. All the text, the images, the videos, the links, everything. Okay, so we've got our foundation poured. Now let's talk about what I think is the single most important concept in modern HTML, semantics. This is how we level up from just building with generic, meaningless boxes to creating a structure that has purpose and intelligence built right in. This is a game changer. And this definition really nails it. Put simply, semantic HTML is all about choosing the right tool for the job. You wouldn't use a generic div box for your site's main navigation menu when there's literally a nav tag designed specifically for that purpose, right? It's all about giving your content meaning that browsers and search engines can actually understand. And wow, this comparison tells the whole story. On the left, we have what developers lovingly call div soup. It's just a messy pile of generic div containers. You have no idea what any section is for without reading a bunch of class names. But on the right, it is crystal clear. You've got header, nav, main, article, and footer. The code itself explains the structure of the page. It's so much cleaner, more readable, and just way more powerful. But why does this actually matter so much? Well, the payoff is huge. First, accessibility. Screen readers can identify these sections as landmarks, allowing users with visual impairments to just jump right to the navigation or the main content. It's a massive win. Second, SEO. Search engines like Google reward well-structured sites because they can better understand what your content is about. Third, maintainability. Your code basically documents itself, which is a dream to come back to months or even years later. And finally, it's future-proof. As new technologies like AI assistants come out, they'll rely on this semantic clarity to make sense of your content. All right, enough theory. Let's make this super practical. We're going to apply the semantic blueprint to one of the most common and useful projects for anyone starting out, a personal portfolio website. So let's just map this out. At the very top, you'd start with a header to hold your name and title. Right below that, a nav tag would perfectly wrap your main navigation links, about, projects, contact. Then the biggest part of the page, the core content, goes inside the main element, and inside there, you could put each of your projects in its own separate article tag. Finally, you wrap it all up with a footer at the bottom for your social media links and copyright info. See? A perfect, logical structure, with meaning built right in from the ground up. Now that you have the blueprint and you've got this semantic toolkit, let's just quickly cover a few essential habits that will set your code apart and make you look like a pro right from day one. First up, headings. This one's a biggie. Always use one and only one H1 per page. That's your main title. Then structure the rest of your content with H2s for main sections and H3s for subsections, just like an outline for an essay. Second, keep your code clean. Use consistent indentation and leave helpful comments for the tricky parts. Third, always be thinking about how your site will look on different screens. A flexible structure is absolutely key for responsive design. And finally, use an HTML validator. It's like a spell checker for your code that will catch simple errors you might have missed. And that's pretty much it. You now have the fundamental knowledge to build really well-structured, professional websites. And honestly, the best way to make these skills stick is to just start building. Don't wait. Take this blueprint and go create something today. And if you need some inspiration, here are a few fantastic first projects. You could build that personal portfolio we just planned out. Or maybe create a documentation page for a piece of software you like. You could design a cool landing page for a fictional product, build a website for your favorite recipe, or even just create a simple survey form. Every single one of these will reinforce these core concepts. And as you continue on your coding journey, just remember that the learning never stops. For more deep dives, project tutorials, and tips just like this, make sure you subscribe to Robo For Education. We're here to help you every single step of the way. So, there you have it. The blueprint is yours. You have the structure, you have the semantic tools, and you have the pro habits down. The only question left is, what are you going to build first?